All right. And we are live. Welcome and good morning, India. I am Frank Ochoa, also known as PivotBoss, and we're here to get to the charts, talk Nifty, Bank Nifty. We're also going to get to your stock requests, and I also have some big time news. Maybe you've already heard, but we're announcing it here live first. But first, here, let's get to the charts. Let's get to some of what we have going on here heading into the week. So right now, let's get right into it here. I wanted to start off first by jumping into the Nifty here just to set up what we're looking at heading into the week. And number one, we have a tremendous amount of compression. So I'm going to take everything off the charts right now. And what I'm going to do as we set up this week is just look at some levels, just some very clear basic levels, a couple of trend lines here, as you can see right there, and that's not my classic here. Let's change the color on that there. But you can see my lower trend line right here. In Nifty, you have this upper line coming right across here. This is a 200-day simple moving average, and it closed the Nifty that day. Nifty 50 closed right there at that session high, and then the next day gaps down, and we've been down ever since. And right there off the top, that would suggest the market taking value offered by way of the 200-day moving average after taking it initially offered here. Obviously in a classic uptrend, you would keep it bid or offered depending on the trend here. But right now, just back into the range below. So we have a little bit of a short-term downtrend. Previously, we did have a compression, and then we fell out of that range. How is it going to play out this week? So one of the things I wanted to do is, okay, currently we're within range here. So if I bring up the volume profile, maybe let's see if we drive in a little bit more here, if it pops up. If we drop into the lower, this is since about middle of June here, or middle of May, you do have value down below right here by way of the larger swing time frame here, right? So value is right at around 23,000, call it 970s. This is where price was taken offered at the 200-day moving average, compression, and then it's falling out of bed here. And now we may see any pullback could be a selling opportunity as price returns to value below, back within the framework of this range. So that gives us a little bit of a framework to work with here as we enter the week and as we jump into the lower time frames. So let's look at GIFT Nifty right now. GIFT Nifty, here it is. Narrow overnight range right now. Basically kind of sitting right here in the lower half of the prior session range. And a thing to note right here is, again, that 8-period average right there providing resistance. Again, if price were to come higher here to begin the week, is an inverted check mark week down from a swing perspective. Again, as we fall back into VPOC below. Something to keep in mind here as the week progresses. Okay, let's go back to the Nifty here. And I want to drop into the hourly time frame. Actually, let's do 15-minute chart. And I'm going to bring up regular trading hours right now. And one thing I like to do here is bring up the CPR tool. And for this one, we're going to go for week to week. We're going to set it up for the week. And this is for the week right here. One thing you'll note, let's see. It's going to be lower value heading into tomorrow or into the morning. So as soon as we get our first tick here, this will switch from narrow, and look at the explosive move. Here's your sell signal, A+ sell signal there as it dropped, came back a little bit, didn't quite take out the high and dropped downward. Now, lower value relationship, and we can look at the Nifty here and it'll tell us already. Let's do that. Right there, lower value relationship, 47.5% shift down. That's your state shift down. That's extreme and a bearish trend class right now. So what that would suggest is that any pullback could be a selling opportunity right now unless the midpoint here is taken out and you see this thing taken out to the upside. That would open up the upside here for the week. So again, these are weekly pivots right here. Good morning here. That's Coco Dog saying good morning. By the way, good to see you, Arun. Welcome. Welcome to the chat. Right now, by the way, thank you very much here for all the positive support I've received from our Indian traders here. I know I've taken a little break here over the summer as my children are out of school, and my children go back to school this week. And you don't quite judge the smile on my face. I'm not happy. It's just I'm happy that I get to spend a little bit more time here in the trading room. So let's get after it together. And we have released, by the way, we have released a new Indian markets trading room specific to our PivotBoss Discord server, and that has been released today. I know several folks have been asking for their Nifty analysis and all of their trade ideas, trade flow, everything to be kind of consolidated here. We have released that, and if you want to see a quick sneak peek, we'll jump into that here in a little bit. But I'm looking at the room right now, already starting to populate that room within our current trading room ecosystem. So it's going to be a lot of fun getting into that. All right, let's take a look here at the Gift Nifty again. From a weekly standpoint, this is our PivotBoss CPR Pro tool. By the way, more news on that coming up. We have our new Masters training coming up. 2 weeks worth of training coming up here soon. This is PivotBoss Masters enrollment week, so we have a lot of news coming up on that front as well. This is one of our tools from PivotBoss Masters, and it has been phenomenal since we released it in June. And as a matter of fact, right now, it's currently showing quite a bit of bearishness at the moment, right? Heading into the week. So that means right now, any pullback, again, into the pivot range, provides an opportunity for bears to defend, reject that advance, and then turn the thing back down. So looking for any push perhaps into as high as this 525 to be rejected back down. And then you're looking for a continuation to the downside. How far down do we go? Perhaps we're dropping back into these previous lows right here, which are 24,200 as a good little target. So if we pull back to this 525 zone, there could be a drop that takes you into 24.2 down below. Now that could give you structure for the week. Depends on how this thing's going to play out as we begin the week. But right now, a bit of a rounded top, a breakdown, pull back and hold, compression here. How do we begin the week here this week? Are we going to drop right away, or do we pull back and see that rotation to the downside? The early move. Now, one thing I like to do is pair the CPR with my PivotBoss pivots as well. And we can do this again based off the week here. And if we do get that pullback here, you're looking for that drop to lead you somewhere into this zone here, about the S50. Right now, the S50 lines up quite well with the 200 target that we just mentioned. So that's about right. That's what you're looking for right here. An extreme event would take you beyond that. But basically, if you were to go from this midline into the S50 here, that range, that distance, is basically equidistant, exactly equidistant to the previous period of time's range, from that low to that high. Equidistant. So it's an equidistant move on a downward trajectory here. So now it's not always perfect to that zone, but the framework breaks there. If there's a big time transition here, you open up the highs. So that's the framework right now for Gift Nifty. But as you see right now, the Nifty has the same framework at the moment in terms of the lower value relationship. The current framework over here, I guess if I were to put it on ETH, it may change here. But keeping it on RTH right now, this will change as soon as you get your first tick of data, and then we're looking for that to drop here. Any push through here opens up the upside. So some thoughts right there on Nifty here. And by the way, good morning, Vera. Good to see you. If you all have any recommendations on any stocks or any specific markets that you'd like me to take a look at, please let me know in the chat. And let me know, again, any tickers you'd like me to take a look at, as I noted that I just saw that I was pretty shadowy here in the live stream, so I just brought up some additional lighting here. Okay. All right, right now, taking a look at these markets from a Bank Nifty perspective here. This is Bank Nifty right now, and currently you can see, let's go back out to the higher time frame here. Back out a little wide. I'm going to drop all the tools here for a moment, and we're going to back this thing up. For Bank Nifty right now, we're seeing this compression right here. That is significant multi-day compression, and it's within the broader compression we've already seen. And I put in this impulse move here recently from that high down. Perhaps I could have done it here. There's your midpoint, and currently we are seeing compression within that range. That's a build out of energy, and it will be released here fairly soon. Do we get a push through 58K to open up some highs? Or does that breakdown here lead to a drop within the framework here, back toward 55,475? At the moment, hard to predict. Directional conviction. So it could be a rather rotational market right now as we open up the week for this one. Let's go down to the 15-minute time frame again. And let's do this. We're going to bring up the CPR, but this time, again, weekly here. And this is what it currently looks like in a 15-minute time frame here with the weekly pivots. Lower value relationship coming into play. Again, this will change as soon as we get the new tick of data. Lower value relationship here. It was higher value relationship there. And then this was overlapping, and then this was higher to lower here. Basically, you've got a lot of chop as it's gone in here. There's been very little discernible trend with regards to the pivots. The width characteristics are all over, which means it's been very elastic while also very compressive. So all of that is coming to a head. And at the moment, looking again here at the PivotBoss pivots, let's bring this up like this. Here's what we're looking at. We're looking at an opportunity here where this low, if we were to forecast the upcoming pivots here, that low right there, let me bring this back up, will be very, very important. And that low currently is 57,158. Call it 57,150. If we drop into that low, it is an opportunity to fade it back to 57.6. So right there. So you're looking again from right here about 120 or so, maybe call it 100, 57.1. Can it drop into the previous week's low? And then right there between 57K and 57.1, there's an opportunity to return it back to 57.6. So you got a plus 5 to 600 there. And then you may see this thing rotate again to the upper end of the range toward 58K as it remains rotational right now. A rotational market favors fading the edges back and forth. So some thoughts right there on Bank Nifty. Very rotational. At some point, expansion will be seen. At some point. Do we push through 58K with a transition day or a transition week that really opens up expansion? Or maybe it goes up here and rejects really solidly and now we're breaking down? That might be another way as well. At the moment, we have a bit of an expanding range here developing, or at least a downward channel to come up here and drop within the channel could be in play. But at the moment, still rotational, and soon perhaps expansion could be seen. All right. Let's take a look right now. By the way, I wanted to bring your attention here to our PivotBoss Masters training. We have new training coming out for our PivotBoss Masters members. For those of you who are members, this is all included at no additional cost. We have 2 weeks of training coming up, and you can view the schedule of events coming up at the Masters dashboard. If you're not part of our PivotBoss Masters training, there's no better time to join than now. And you can look right here. This is tremendous, tremendous what we're offering at the moment. PivotBoss Masters live sessions begin August 24th and run for 2 weeks through September 4th. So you're going to see much more of that as we roll out throughout the week. But we have a first week. This is PivotBoss Masters Enrollment Week. And for those of you that enroll here this week, you will get 2 months free access to the PivotBoss trading room. And within that room, we have now opened our very first Indian markets channels that are now open and live. So they are ready to go. I'll show that off here soon. But you got a week right here. For those that want to get the early bird special this week, they will get 2 months inclusion within our trading room, so that not only do you get the tools, you get the training, and you get to trade right alongside us in the trading room. Additionally, you're going to receive a ton of value here along the way, including our most powerful release of software tools ever, specifically for TradingView and Thinkorswim. You can learn more about it here, including our PivotBoss Cam Pro auction intelligence engine. We also have the CPR Pro market state engine. So a ton here to get after. Go to pivotbossmasters.com/live. Just tremendous tools, using them every single day in the market. And it is incredible how they have adapted to the current volatility of these markets, whether it's extreme volatility or extreme compression or anything in between. Just significant results right now out of these markets. So join us at pivotbossmasters.com/live to learn more. And let's get back to the charts right now. I wanted to take a look at Sensex. Let's take a look at Sensex right now. Looking at Sensex here, heading into the new week of trading, we have a significant narrow range, pivot range right now. We closed near the midline of the previous week. And what that does, it creates a range lock situation or market state for the upcoming week. And again, a range lock would suggest trading range week. It means pretty much what we just covered in Bank Nifty. You're looking for price to drop into the previous week's low. You're looking for rejection, and then you're looking to return price to the midline. That's the flow right here. You also have gap support here, in this support zone. Right in this area has been pretty stout here. So again, coming into that area, looking for rejection and returning it back up. So quite frankly here, you're looking at probably 77.4 back up to about 78.1. So again, about a plus 700 that could be in play there. What if the first move is up? Then it's the opposite. If the first move is up away from a narrow pivot range, when you close near the center, you're making a move to the extreme and fading it back to the other side. So that's what we're looking for here in Sensex. Again, very excited to get back into the Indian markets here, especially with some of the volatility that we'd seen earlier this year. For Sensex, for example, let's take everything off the chart right here. I wanted to just show when I first started covering Indian markets on live streams, because I hadn't been doing YouTube live streams at all. And to begin the year in January of 26, we began our first live streams on YouTube for both the US and Indian markets. And the first thing I drew for our first live stream was that key range right there. That key range, that impulse move here and a push back to the mid, that key range. And the first call was that this was so wide that you're likely going to see compression. And then following that compression, we'll likely see expansion to the 100% target, either up, but in this case, likely down because the markets were dropping, and we said 73.9 would be the target. It's impressive looking back because now here we are in the middle of August. You can see how it's played out since then. And that should give everyone confidence here. Some of you may be super experienced traders. Some of you may be learning for the first time, as we all did at some point. But one of the things here that just brings confidence to me here is I don't follow the Indian markets as closely as you all do, but I can apply a PivotBoss methodology that I know works, and I can give some pretty clear analysis and forecasting based off of it. And these are tools and analytical approaches that anyone can use. And so that's why, again, with what we provide here at PivotBoss, we're typically trying to provide the most bang with the most simplistic approach. Very simple but powerful meanings behind it. And just like this ADR indicator down here, very, very simple quantitative approach to expansion and compression. And that's this concept here. And we used it at the time. And then we used it here for the expansion that followed. So tremendous, tremendous. And again, for those of you that joined PivotBoss Masters, this tool is part of our PivotBoss Masters Pro suite. Cam Pro, Outside Reversal Pro, Extreme Reversal Pro, Thrust Reversal Pro, Wick Reversal Pro, Bands Pro, Pivots. Right now, this framework testing and to be released soon. And then CPR Pro right here. This Pro suite on fire here, all available for PivotBoss Masters members already. And we began PivotBoss Masters quite a bit ago, 14, 15 years ago, and still kicking here as we go. So tremendous tools here for any market. Right now, looking at the hourly time frame of Sensex, you can still see this flow right here to the downside. I'll be interested to see if the first move is up here, does that lower high get you going in a big time way to the downside here first? If the first move is down, got to watch this level for the push up. That's the blueprint right now for those markets. Now, there's been some tremendous movement here in some stocks here. I'm going to go down the list here and just click through a random sampling of what I've seen here a little bit lately. And what I'm going to do here is put it on the monthly right here. And I'm also actually going to bring up the monthly cams. There you go, right there. This is the monthly cams right now. And I'm going to bring this one off. So for those of you who know I am, my name is Frank Ochoa. If you're not familiar, I wrote a book called Secrets of a Pivot Boss. And one of the pivots that I taught in that book is the Camarilla pivots. This is the Cam Pro. This is the Pro version of it. I call it the Auction Intelligence Engine. And I've built an entire auction intelligence engine into an indicator. And it is tremendous. And right now, you can see a random sampling of some of the signals and points of interest along the chart. And one of the things that's standing out here is a current buy signal developing right now in the L3 buy zone. And this is within the existing up framework right now. And this is a CC Bank here hanging out near the upper end of the range. So this is an interesting spot in the chart here. You've had quite a bit of resistance in this zone, and it hasn't really spent a whole lot of time trading above 1425, 1450. So let's see, that's 1450 right about here. And you can just see it gets about there and falls. And so this recent drop away from that level, you had that failure and the lower high, and now it's driven downward. To come into that L3 zone right now, it's almost coming into it. While it is a higher time frame uptrend, you have a moderate state shift, you have a bearish control right now, and overlapping higher value, which aren't the strongest here. So this one right here, there is a good buy signal right now. It has fired, but notice, this is what makes this engine so powerful. It's just a simplified triangle. That's your basic signal. If it's going to fire a signal, it's like pass, fail, pass. There are other layers built in that let me know that this is a screaming buy or a good buy or oh my gosh sell versus okay barely, right? This right here, much higher grading. This has multiple layers of pro confirmation built in and really understands where that participatory bar is happening within the auction. So whenever you get a big break at the right pivot with the right participation, that's when you get the right release of energy. And that's what this auction engine is designed to do. It's not screaming by here, but it did here. And you see the results on how it played out. So not to say that this can't work out, but just showing the difference here of how you can have confidence in certain areas versus others. But that's not to say these are always perfect. Again, it's designed to go within the flow of an auction. But auctions can tend to transition and change, and that's when you have to change the style of trade within that auction. So beautiful, beautiful signal here developing. But again, gotta watch it as a short-term play to the previous close and then to the H3 level. That's about it right now. If there's any failure in here to hold L3, then you have a shot to make it to the next level down. Let's see here. I was looking at State Bank here, and interesting rejection right at resistance here, and that is telling at the moment. So again, and please, again, if you have any requests here, please let me know. But right here, you can definitely see rejection in this zone here, and right now we are seeing a very confirmed sell signal here, a big time rejection off the H5 cam for the month here, and at the same spot as before. Last time this thing dropped a couple of legs downward. Is this about to make its next move down as well? So at the moment, flowing down away from this rejection point here. To begin the week, do we start with a little bit of weakness? And is that weakness rejected? Because that could lead to some failure here. So this one's going to be interesting following this rejection here off of this zone here. Manoj and Vig, good to see you. Yeah. Welcome and good morning. Absolutely here. CNXIT. We've talked CNXIT before in our pre-market live streams for the U.S. markets. And so for those of you that join our pre-market live stream for the U.S. markets, you know I talk Nifty every single day at the very end there for our Indian traders that ask. But that's what's going to be great about our trading room here. And that's currently within our PivotBoss Discord trading room. And you know what? Actually, let's take a look real quickly right now. Let's do this right here. I wanted to show this off. If you take a look right here, this here is our new Indian markets spot here within our current PivotBoss ecosystem. So for those of you that are not used to looking at our Discord trading room here, this is it. This is the better part of the server here. And of course, most of the action happens right in here. We have our pre-market videos that are posted here. These are the live streams every morning. And then you have your replays, all the trading room recordings that are posted here. We live stream via here. And now we have our Indian markets here as well. So super excited about that. Your start here to get you kind of the lay of the land and get you started quickly. You have your Nifty chat. This is going to be where most of the heavy lifting is being done. Your recordings will be here. We're currently in that room now, and this current live stream will be housed right here, or currently is. Nifty support, and of course, this is where we can do our specific live streams without having to jump through YouTube. We can have our own dedicated area right here as well. So we have put the ecosystem within PivotBoss, and right now you can get in here free for the next 2 months. Free for the next 2 months if you jump into PivotBoss Masters this week and you're also getting the early bird special for PivotBoss Masters. So a tremendous amount coming your way. Very excited about it all. And you can join us here again at pivotbossmasters.com/live. Now, looking at the charts again, this is the CNXIT. I love this one here. We've been watching this one recently, and one thing that has stood out is that 32K continues to be a major roadblock for this market. Major roadblock. This one here hasn't been able to get through that zone. But we do have a narrow multi-day range here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You know, we can go 10-day range. I like to go 2 weeks sometimes. If it's at least 10 days, we can go 2 weeks right there. And this is what you'll see by way of quantifying the data here. You'll see 40% of average, current range, and here are your other stats. And then when you look at this range right now, this is in the bottom 1.5 percentile of the year in terms of compression. That is extraordinarily compressed. So that means expansion is coming. And when expansion comes, it'll be at least 2,500 to 3,000 points of range. As a matter of fact, if it's not at least 3,000 points here, it might be pretty wimpy. So the next move might easily be, again, 3,000 to 3,500 points of range. Which way will it be? Is it back down within the range, which has been normal, or is it finally going to see an upside break? I think right now 32K remains major resistance. It will need to prove it for upside to continue. Otherwise, I think right now we may be looking at the potential for a little bit of a sink here back within the range, but expansion out of this range could be big. 3,000 to 3,500 points of range. Let's take a look at TCS. TCS right now, similar concept as CNXIT. Lower resistance here, and then you got kind of a higher shelf, downward trend. What I do like about this, you had more of a bearish trend, and it has broken it recently. Breaking to the upside here recently. Let's bring up these right here. So you can see right here, that break, boom. And now it's trying to sit on the monthly pivot range here. When that's the case, there's a potential here to stair step higher, in which case 2,600 could be next. This framework breaks at the midpoint here, 2236, and we're dropping down toward 2,000. So right now we could drop as deep as this level and then bounce it this way. So by the way it looks here and what it's done with that participation day, you can see how it's trying. But, you know, you start failing through here, it opens up low. So right now you can see the potential here to make its move to the upside. But this has been the trend for a while. This has been the trend for a while. And anytime you see a bounce and then a hold, it's almost like a mini markup and a mini distribution before the next mini markdown. You know, so I'd be suspect of this one as well. Similar to the CNXIT, where I'm a little suspect we could go down. That we likely go down. TCX, similar here, while also breaking the trend. So it's trying. You can definitely tell it's trying. So that's what I got for that one right now. Day to day, rotational, fading the edges day to day. So if you're looking at this thing intraday, then right now it's rotational. You're kind of fading the edges back into the range a bit until it can prove expansion. There we go. All right. Well, I do want to leave it there. I want to say thank you very much for joining me for this live stream. If you're watching the recording, please let me know which tickers you'd like to see in the next live stream. I plan to do another one of these on YouTube here next Monday for a pre-market live stream as well. But for those of you that want to jump into our trading room, again, we'll be doing this more often in the trading room with a dedicated chat stream there, and also screen sharing as well. So we'll be getting it all going, especially as we kick it forward for the fall. So exciting conclusion here to the summer coming in to play as we get ready for the fall. And again, big things coming your way via PivotBoss Masters. Please join us at pivotbossmasters.com/live to be a part of the upcoming 2-week training, to get all of these fantastic tools, and to claim your 2 months of free trading room access with our newly released trading room for the Indian markets, all yours at your fingertips right now. Looking forward to it. And again, we'll see you in the next one. Take care. See you soon.